So in this video, we are going to continue with the gear arm by putting the part onto a drawing sheet and add the proper information. So we're going to open up our new drawing sheet. Of course, the first steps after that will be to change the size and to get the proper title block in there. Now we can go ahead and add our base view. I'm always really bad at this, so you gotta try and get it. Yeah, that's the one I want, and we'll do a half scale and get the top view and the side view properly. And nope, I want hidden lines on. Okay, now I'm not going to show you guys how to put in all of the center marks and center lines. I want you to do that. Nor am I going to show you how to put in all the dimensions. But again, I did give you the answer key, so you have that reference. I want you to be responsible for paying attention to detail, not just following me. So I will show you things that are new this time, though. And one thing that's new, or that's different, is if you look at the dimensions on the answer key, sometimes the dimensions are shown in fraction, other times it's shown in decimal, and sometimes we have what we call like the tolerance, where we have the upper limit and the lower limit. So I'm just going to throw in some dimensions first so you can kind of see the way it's defaulted to, and then we'll go ahead and change them as we need to. Okay, so we know that this dimension right here is not 1.88. That is rounded to be accurate in the two decimal places. We know that it's actually 1 7/8, which is much more an accurate way of doing it. Same with like the 1.63. No, it's 1 5/8, which is 1.625. And over here, no, it's not 0.75, it's 0.750. There's actually a big difference in manufacturing when you have that extra sig fig on the back of it. So how do we adjust that? Well, one thing you can do is you can just go to Manage, Styles Editor, and go into the default settings for the dimensional standard we're using and change the precision. We're at default ANSI. Change the precision to 3. Now that helps me with like this one, kind of, right? We still have to figure out how to do the tolerance, but it doesn't help me when I have the fractions. So one thing that you could do for the fractions is you can override it. An override is it'll make an exception to your standard rule. So I'm gonna, and you might want to wait until the very end to do this, but I'll do it now to show you. You can click, and then while holding Control, click all the dimensions you want to change to fractional. Then come up to, which one? I think it's, yeah, Annotate. And then over here is where you see Format. And you can say, you know what, I actually want you to be fractional. I know that you're not, but or I know that the default isn't, but let's do it that way. And that's how you will do your fractional dimensions. Another thing to note, and let me pull up the solutions over here, is, we know how to do center marks. We know how to do center lines, like over here. But we have this arced center mark. And we don't know how to do an arced center mark yet. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So we know over here is the center line bisector, the center line, the center mark, but we have this one over here, which is called the circular pattern, or what do they actually call it? It's circular centered pattern. Okay. So, and what that does is it will give you a centered pattern around a central point. And you might see this if you have like a bunch of bolts in a circle, like for screwing it in, like it all is centered around a pattern around the midpoint of it. So here's how that works. You're going to click Centered Pattern. Remember, when in doubt, look at the bottom left. Select Center of Circular Pattern. Okay, that would be this center right here. Hover over the arc if you can't pick the point. Then you're going to click on your location, which is going to be, I don't know if it's going to want me to click this or that. Let's just try the arc. If I'm incorrect, I will correct myself. And then point 2 will be right here. Yeah, it looks good. And then you could, when you're done, you have to right click and hit create. Good. And now we have our centered pattern right there. The last thing we have to do is figure out how to go about and do the tolerances. So if you double click on your dimension, might hit escape to get out of the whatever tab you have open. Over here we have precision and tolerance. And our default is none listed, like it's one dimension. But we can do different kinds, right? We can do we have deviation, symmetric, reference, but we're actually going to want to do limits and stacked. We have an upper limit and a lower limit, and we want them stacked, meaning one right on top of the other. So our upper limit, let's make that to 3 units, is 0.750. That's good as is. The lower limit, we're going to make 0.748. And it's almost good, right? But we still have to add that word ream, which I forget what that exactly means, but it's some kind of manufacturing term. And that's relatively simple. Let's go back in here. And then if we go back over to text, you can just type in ream after this, where we have like, arrow, like, less than, greater than. That's the dimension, like it's grayed out. And then whenever you type before, it comes before. Whatever you type after, it comes after. And we're going to just type in ream over here. And now we have discussed how to do the tolerances, the fractions, the centered pattern, and it is on you guys to put the proper location for the remaining dimensions, center lines, center marks, include the notes over here, and fill in the title block properly. All right, that concludes the gear arm.